everybody, and welcome to another edition of Seminoles Daily. I am your host, Rob Krause, and today we're going to spend some time talking about the running back position. We're going to stay on the offensive side of the ball and talk about a stud by the name of Gary Walker. We talked about Braden Tyson last week. Now let's talk about this young man out of the Peach State that the Seminoles are targeting and looking to maybe add on to their already pretty loaded running back room as it stands. One of the better positions on the team. Maybe they can get Mr. Walker and really booster that come next fall. But first, just want to, as always, thank everyone who has liked, subscribed, and shared these videos. Our numbers on the views keep climbing. Our numbers on the subscriptions keep climbing. Our comments also keep climbing. And I'll circle back to those kind of in the last topic. I am enjoying them. Let's keep those up too as well. But as we talk about this climb, we got to talk about a four-star prospect out of the Peach State. One, Gary Walker from Creekside High School, home of the Creekside Seminoles. I know. It's just one of those, coincidences. I personally always like when a kid who plays for a team called the Seminoles and they have an identical helmet, an identical uniform. You like to see, like, hey, that's it's not a hard transition for you, buddy. You already play in the colors. The helmet wouldn't be that big of a change. But it's hokey, I know, and part of that is also the fact that, hey, if you're Florida State, you're still a brand for the time being. You're still a quality brand that it still has influence all over the Southeast and the country as far as look and name and logo, etc. goes. So, hey, maybe that's, trying to prey on that. That's any trick of the trade right now. If you're Mike Norvell, you can do. To try to get this young man's services because he is an absolute stud, a four-star, the 7th running back in the country, the 14th player in the state of Georgia, which is absolutely loaded this year with major Division I prospects really putting in the work down there in GA. He's the 144th ranked player in the country. I want to talk about his numbers, though. Last year, 1,669 yards, 20 touchdowns in 14 games, including 149 yards on 17 carries. He had 178 carries on the season, but 149 on 17 for Creekside High School in their state championship win this past year, which is something that I don't think we touched on as we talk about recruiting, but something that I always think has value. And it goes back to an interview that I remember with Chuck Amato about over 25 years ago. It was during kind of the dynasty heyday. And Chuck had mentioned that when they look for recruits with Coach Bowden, there's three main tenets that they have. First and foremost, got to be fast. Can't be slow. This is Florida State. You got to be fast. You got to have speed. Number two, you got to be a team guy. You got to be willing to give up, sacrifice for the team, for the greater good. And three, preferably, you come from a winning program because winning begets winning. And when you come from a program like Creekside, who is a defending state champion, who 2 years ago lost the state championship. So they back-to-back years, they played for the state title in 4A in Georgia. They have a state title back, I believe, in 2014 as well. They are a traditional, consistent power program in the state of Georgia. So when you are a consistent power program in a consistent power state, the talent you're getting there, sure, is probably going to be elite, but the hard work and the dedication and the culture that goes into something like that, into a program like Creekside, is exactly the type of player that if you're Florida State or really any college program, you're zeroing in on. You want those culture. You want those guys that know how to win because, again, winning begets winning. They know the sacrifice it takes. They know the drive it takes. They know the extra sprints after practice that works, the extra film study, getting up at 4 a.m. to lift and go for a run. Little things like that you get from a winning culture and a winning program that you want to get into your program, okay? Now, that doesn't mean that, a 2-10 team can't have an elite Division I prospect. If you're a prospect, you're a prospect. And sometimes you can make the argument that those type of kids that come from those, programs that don't have as great a success, but are still, traits players or still have that physical outstanding, even better, because now they're hungry. Now they want to join a winner. And those winners from that winning high school program can help bring this young man who hasn't quite experienced that success in high school, but has those physical tools. He can say, hey man, follow me, buddy. I know how it takes to win. I know what it takes to win at this in this game. You come with me, follow me, and you learn. And again, that's all the culture building, baby. That's all that we're talking about. It's just building that cultural stew of winning and getting a kid like Gary Walker, from a big time program who has won, who has great success, who not only did he win a state title, he came up to play in that game. He ran all over that Mercedes-Benz turf in that championship game. So he knows what it takes to come in and help maybe turn this program around should Florida State be able to secure his signature. But that doesn't mean it's not going to be without some questions and some fight, in particular, a couple of schools, both in your conference. One of those, interesting when you're looking at his list of schools, is Stanford is a program that he has looked into and has expressed interest in. The Western program of the Atlantic Coast Conference, the Pacific Coast team of the Atlantic Coast Conference, because, when you think ACC, you think Stanford, California, which, look, let's be honest about Stanford in this league, is that if they ever decide that they do want to get it together and compete in this sport, then yes, they can do that. Lord knows, they have the resources, they have the alumni, they have the money, they have the talent-rich state to put it all together. That's if they decide they want to compete in football, which, hey, maybe they sign Gary Walker and he's the type of guy that Stanford can rally around and build around. And then maybe when you lose to them at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, in embarrassing fashion, it won't be as embarrassing and it won't be as frustrating as last year was. The other program that we got to look for is, of course, Clemson. They are, by all intents and purposes, the more likely front runner for Mr. Walker, who is an extremely talented athlete and running back. And Clemson, of course, does have the advantage of just being right now the superior program to you, and also with a good history of putting in running backs into the NFL. Also, keep an eye on Virginia Tech. Penn State have also expressed interest in Mr. Walker, and he's expressed interest in them. Virginia Tech, as we know, is going to be somebody to keep an eye on with James Franklin in the room there doing the recruiting. And interestingly enough, Matt Campbell, well, as we mentioned with Penn State earlier, they've got the resources as well to back a winner should they so choose. Interesting to see them going down into Georgia to try and get his services as well. And, that's just kind of the situation as we look to rebuild this program under Mike Norvell, is trying to get and beat out these schools like Stanford, beat out these schools like Penn State, beat out these schools like Clemson, who all kind of have that combination right now as it stands of just superior, resources and finances and front office, which is what I kind of want to touch on. We're going to go a little different path here on our segment in Mike's history. So, reading some of the comments, which again, I encourage everybody, please comment, okay? Tell me what you think. Tell me what you feel. I'm a grown man, okay? I'm not, my feelings aren't going to be easily hurt. I know I got weird eyebrows. I got a weird chipped tooth. I have a, South Mid-Atlantic accent, which can be a little off-putting for some people. So trust me, any of those comments aren't going to hurt me. I'm also not going to be perfect. If I make a mistake, please let me know where I screwed up. But one thing I do want to express, because I've, seen some comments about, hey, Rob, you're kind of, pretty optimistic. And there's negative comments because it's pretty easy right now with this program to be negative. And I want to express what my overall philosophy is as we go forward in this journey of Seminoles Daily and how we build this channel, but also how we evaluate this program. Is what I believe in is a phrase I like to call realistic optimism. Okay. So I, like a lot of you, follow a lot of Florida State media, obviously. And I think personally, pound for pound, Florida State has the best media of any major college football program. The guys at, X's and Knowles do a great job. The guys that are on the bench, the guys at War Chant, Locked On, Tribe, Mark Rogers TV, etc. All those guys do a great job, and gals, all do a great job talking about this program, okay? And it is very easy right now to be negative. And I promise you that I'm never going to be a sunshine pumper. I'm never going to lie to you and tell you that, oh, this team's going to win 10 games. And that, oh, yeah, they're definitely going to sign Gary Walker. They're definitely going to get to Sean Poole. I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you that, oh, they're locked in the bag. What I'm gonna tell you is why they want to get this kid, why they should try and get this kid, and what the vibes are like. And if the vibes are good, the vibes are good. But that's why we also bring up the suitors and the other teams in the mix to keep you realistic about the odds of landing these guys. Okay? Because that's the truth. The truth of the matter is you want to be optimistic and hopeful, but you want to be realistic and grounded at the same time. And right now, Florida State, as a recruiting program, realistically is not at the elite level. Okay. It's just not going to be for a variety of factors, ranging from number one, Mike's job status, number two, the amount of debt the school has, number three, the NIL program, that you've got boosters who rightfully could be withholding some money because they don't necessarily want to give it to a coach and secure a class who's going to transfer because they're looking to fire a guy. You got new assistants that aren't familiar with each other who are also a little bit tentative about their job position. So, yes, there's a lot of things going on with this program in the negative that you do have to have some realistic opinion about. But that doesn't mean that we can't still be a little on the optimistic side of the fact that, hey, this is still a brand. It's still a major brand in college football. And yes, it's going to get some diminish and tarnish on when it doesn't win a road game for 2 years. And it's going to have some diminish and tarnish when you can't win more than 2 games in the ACC, by all means. But what do I always talk about in these shows? That everything is cyclical and everything what goes around can come around, and this program can come back. Now, is it going to come back under Mike Norvell? That's a conversation that we're going to talk extensively about over the next few weeks and months, especially into the summer as we get closer to our actual team evaluations and breakdowns. It could be. He has done it before. Can he rebuild it again? Getting guys like Gary Walker would probably go a long way. Okay. Can they rebuild under somebody else? Sure. Yes. It might be a fresh start. It might be a new person. But the greater point I'm trying to express is that, yes, you can be negative about this program for a variety of reasons, but it is also for your own benefit and health, I think, with any sports team in general, is to just always look at some realistic, hopeful optimism options. Maybe they do get Gary Walker. Maybe they do get to Sean Poole. Maybe they get, Chavez Dixon and builds a line. Maybe they, land on one of these quarterback prospects that they've kind of had to settle to. Things like that. Or maybe Ashton Daniels turns out to be an elite star, this year. I don't know. But the beauty of this sport and the beauty of this program is that we have seen the absolute nadir, the absolute rock bottom barrel, and we've also seen it build itself back up to a certain high level that we're accustomed to. Okay? So that's why, again, in the comments, leave the negative ones all you want. Tell me what you're feeling, because again, there's a variety of reasons to not feel so good about this program. But also understand that, look, I will also try to give you some reasons to feel hopeful and some reasons to feel like, hey, you know what? Maybe some better days are coming ahead. Under Mike Norvell, maybe we'll see. If not, maybe somebody else down the road. But that's the truth. I will promise you that I will always present to you the realistic, optimistic approach for this program, for your health, to hopefully when you sign off and you watch this video at the end of the day, you feel, hey, I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good about this program. Or, hey, I feel like at the very least, I can understand the level of where they are. So that's just kind of, what I want to express here as we move forward in this journey together on Seminoles Daily. So again, Gary Walker, big 4-star running back out of Georgia. Florida State is in on his recruitment. He has expressed some good vibes, likes the city, likes the staff, likes the program, likes all they do. So realistic optimist, hey, he's not saying no right now. Okay. Championship pedigree, Creekside Seminoles out of Fairburn, Georgia. It's a power. It's a winning program. It's a pedigree. You'd like to see Gary Walker come. I'd like to see some other guys from that program in the future come to Florida State. Our main competitors, obviously Clemson looks to be the front runner. Keep an eye on Stanford, which we didn't do back in October, but maybe we can snipe away a guy from them, looking forward. And then again, the final just, tagline that I want to continue to hammer as we go through this journey here is being a realistic optimist. You know, you can be pessimistic, you can be delusional, you can be morose, you can be cheerful. I prefer a nice, even keel that is a realistic optimist here for this program moving forward. And, hey, maybe that comes to fruition towards the end of this month when all the official visits happen and there's a whole flurry of commitments and NIL bags dropped and these kids are locked in and this team shocks everybody in the fall. But that's a conversation that'll continue to happen here on Seminoles Daily. Thanks again, everybody. Please, again, like, subscribe, share, comment, do all those things to help this channel grow. I love doing this. I'm hoping you love listening to these videos, and I will talk to you tomorrow.